Everything you behold in your outer world is but the echo of your inner vibration. Your frequency creates everything. It is not chance, not fate, not blind circumstance that arranges your life. It is the silent song you are continually singing within. Your thoughts, fused with feeling, generate the frequency upon which the universe builds the stage of your reality. To change your life, you must change your inner music. If you are rehearsing fear, worry, and lack, life will faithfully mirror those tones. If you live in the frequency of abundance, gratitude, and fulfilled desire, life cannot help but reflect the harmony of that state. For the law is exact. Like attracts like. Frequency calls unto frequency. Imagination is not idle daydreaming. It is the instrument by which you tune your vibration. To imagine with conviction is to step into the frequency of already being, already having, already living. And once you inhabit that vibration, the world must rearrange itself to correspond. This is why your inner state is not a mere pastime. It is creation itself. Consider this. When you assume the feeling of love, even before love arrives in form, the world begins to respond to you with kindness, warmth, and attraction. When you persist in the state of wealth, even before the evidence appears, opportunities, ideas, and channels begin to flow. The outer does not cause the inner gives birth to the outer. Do not measure your faith by today's appearances, for appearances are only shadows of yesterday's vibration. Instead, sustain your frequency with patience and certainty, knowing that persistence is the secret ingredient. A seed does not sprout overnight, yet it cannot be denied. So it is with your inner assumption. The harvest is inevitable. Your life is your canvas, and your frequency is the brush. Paint not with complaint, but with conviction. Do not beg life to change. Command it by dwelling in the vibration of already being. Whatever you dare to inwardly claim, if persisted in, will one day walk across the stage of your experience. So I say to you, guard your frequency as the sacred power it is. Choose it deliberately. Live as though your desire is already accomplished. And watch how the unseen harmonies you hold within compose the symphony of your world. Consciousness is the fertile ground from which all things grow, the invisible root of every visible experience in life. What you encounter outwardly is never random. It is always the outpicturing of what has been cultivated within. The mind, when occupied with a state, produces experiences that echo that state. Every event, every meeting, every condition you call life begins not in the external world, but in the silent corridors of your own awareness. To understand this is to recognize that you are not a victim of circumstance, but the very author of it. When you live in fear, anxiety, or doubt, you inhabit a state of mind that naturally attracts experiences aligned with those vibrations. It is not punishment, it is law. Life reflects back to you the inner atmosphere you sustain. Just as the seed once planted grows according to its kind, your consciousness unfolds into the likeness of the thoughts and feelings you nurture most often. If you plant seeds of despair, you cannot expect a harvest of joy. If you plant seeds of confidence, peace, and love, the soil of consciousness cannot help but yield a life abundant in these qualities. The unseen always precedes the seen. You do not first see change in your environment before you shift within. Instead, You shift within, and the environment bends to reflect that shift. To try to alter circumstances while ignoring your inner state is to attempt to change the fruit without addressing the root. You may prune a branch here and there, but until the seed changes, the tree remains the same in essence. Consciousness is the seed, and no effort in the external world can override what you carry in the invisible world of self. Think of how imagination works. When you imagine with feeling, you are sowing seeds into the soil of your consciousness. If you persist in that vision, holding it as real in your inner world, it begins to solidify into experience. This is why daydreams infused with emotion are so powerful. They are not idle fancies, but formative acts of creation. Every mental picture held with conviction is a seed taking root. And once it is rooted, life must yield its fruit in due season. This principle explains why two people may walk through the same circumstances and yet experience entirely different realities. One perceives opportunity, the other sees only lack. One lives in hope, the other in despair. It is not the world that differs, but the seed each one carries. For reality is filtered and shaped by the consciousness inhabiting it. Change the seed, and the harvest must follow. The greatest mistake is to believe that the outer world is the cause and your inner state the effect. It is the reverse. The unseen inner world is primary, and the outer world is its shadow. Shadows cannot cast themselves, they follow the object. Likewise, circumstances cannot create themselves, they follow the seed of consciousness within you. To grasp this truth is to hold the key to transformation. For when you deliberately choose the seeds you plant, when you consciously inhabit the state of being you desire, you take command of creation itself. Imagination is not a mere pastime of the mind, nor a fleeting escape from reality. It is the workshop of creation, the hidden architect of your life. Every image you hold with feeling, every scene you replay with conviction, becomes the blueprint from which your reality is constructed. What you dwell upon inwardly, especially when charged with emotion, takes root in the unseen and crystallizes outwardly into form. The outer world is not the cause but the consequence. Imagination is the origin of all that you encounter. When you imagine, you are not simply entertaining thoughts, you are planting seeds. The mind, when infused with belief, impresses upon the deeper layers of consciousness the pattern of the idea. That pattern becomes the frequency you radiate, and by the law of correspondence, life responds. Imagine poverty and you find lack knocking at your door. Imagine abundance and doors open where before there were walls. The world is pliable, but it bends not to wishful thinking. It bends to sustained, imaginative conviction. The secret lies not in idle fantasy, but in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To imagine yourself wealthy while secretly holding the vibration of lack is to cancel the creative act. But to imagine wealth and live inwardly as though it were already true, feeling the relief, the freedom, the joy, sets into motion the unseen forces that reshape your outer circumstances. Life must mirror the inner state, for it has no choice. You cannot occupy a vibration inwardly without summoning its likeness outwardly. Consider how this operates in the small details of daily life. A person who constantly imagines rejection will often walk into situations already radiating the expectation of being unwanted, and others unconsciously respond to that frequency. Another person who imagines being loved and valued moves with an air of confidence that naturally draws affection. Nothing has changed on the outside except the imaginal act, yet that invisible change alters the entire script of life. Imagination is not bound by the limitations of the present moment. It sees beyond appearances and pulls the unseen into possibility. A man in prison can imagine freedom until the walls lose their power over him. A woman in sickness can imagine vitality until health begins to rise within her. These inner acts are not delusions, they are rehearsals of creation. When persisted in, they become reality. The outer world must eventually align with the inner world, for imagination is the womb of all experience. The greatest power lies in persistence. A single moment of imagining may stir hope, but sustained imagination engraves reality. It is like carving into stone with each repetition, deepening the impression until the world itself conforms. Every invention, every work of art, every movement of progress began first as an image in the mind. The airplane was once a dream, the light bulb a picture in thought, the great structures of civilization sketches in imagination, long before they stood in stone and steel. So it is with your life. The question is not whether imagination works, it is whether you will dare to use it consciously. For whether you believe it or not, you are imagining now. Your future is already being shaped by the images you dwell upon today. If you are to create deliberately, you must learn to guide your imagination, to dwell not on fear, but on faith, not on what is lacking, but on what is already fulfilled within. Hold the vision, feel it real, persist in it, and you will watch the invisible crystallize into the visible, proving that imagination shapes reality. Assumption is more than mere thought. It is the state you clothe yourself in, the frequency you inhabit as though it were already real. Words without embodiment are hollow. You may say, I am prosperous, but if inwardly you continue to feel lack, then lack is the assumption you truly live in. The vibration that creates does not respond to lip service. It responds to the deep felt conviction of already being what you assume yourself to be. With feeling becomes the lens through which you experience the world. And in time, that assumption hardens into fact. Living in assumption means carrying yourself inwardly as though your desire were already accomplished. It is not hoping or waiting for the future. It is claiming the end now. To assume love is not to beg for it or wonder when it will arrive. It is to feel the warmth, the belonging, the joy of already being loved. To assume success is not to anxiously look for opportunities. It is to walk in the dignity and confidence of one who already is successful. The outer world, by law, eventually bends to reflect the inner state that you consistently sustain. The power of assumption is that it bypasses effort and enters directly into being. Many exhaust themselves trying to manipulate circumstances, forcing results through action alone. But assumption operates differently. It shifts the frequency first. Once the inner state is held, circumstances align naturally, often with surprising ease. A man who assumes health begins to act, eat, and move as though he were already well, and his body gradually conforms. A woman who assumes wealth carries herself with abundance, makes decisions from security, and attracts opportunities that mirror her inner vibration. It is important to note that assumption is not pretending. Pretending keeps the desire at a distance, acknowledging that it is not yet real. Assumption, on the other hand, collapses the gap. It is the inner knowing, that what you seek is already yours. This is why feeling is essential. Without feeling, assumption is an empty declaration. With feeling, assumption is a frequency that reverberates through your entire being. The danger lies in unconsciously assuming states you do not want. Many live in the assumption of failure, rejection, or unworthiness. They do not declare it aloud, yet they carry themselves inwardly as though it were true. And because the vibration is sustained, life faithfully reflects it back. The law is impartial. It does not distinguish between assumptions you choose deliberately or those you allow by default. It simply echoes the frequency you hold. To master assumption, you must practice dwelling in the end. Each time doubt arises, return to the feeling of already having. Each time fear speaks, silence it with the inner conviction of fulfillment. Persist in this state and it becomes natural, automatic, effortless. The outer world cannot resist the vibration you consistently inhabit. It must give form to the assumption you live by. So the question becomes, what frequency are you assuming right now? Not what do you wish for, not what do you hope may come, but what are you living inwardly as true? For that is the frequency that is shaping your tomorrows. Life is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the tone of your inner dialogue and the quality of your emotional state. The world you see around you is not separate from the world you hold within. Your conversations with yourself, the words you whisper in silence, the images you replay in your mind, the emotions you continually nurture, become the vibration that life echoes back to you. To experience outer harmony, you must first cultivate inner harmony, for the outer cannot sing a different song than the one already playing within. When the inner dialogue is filled with criticism, self-doubt, or fear, the world responds accordingly. People treat you as you unconsciously expect them to, situations arise that mirror your unrest, and life seems to confirm your deepest insecurities. It is not that the world conspires against you, rather it simply reflects the assumptions and feelings you carry within. If you are always inwardly arguing, condemning, or worrying, you cannot expect peace in the outer circumstances. The mirror can only reflect the face presented to it. On the other hand, when your inner tone is one of kindness, gratitude, and confidence, life responds with grace. People show up in ways that affirm your worth, doors open, and the atmosphere of your days becomes lighter. This is not coincidence, it is alignment. The frequency of your inner state sets the rhythm to which the outer world must dance. Just as a calm lake reflects the sky clearly, so too does a calm mind reflect harmony in the events of life. Inner harmony is not about ignoring challenges, but about choosing the state from which you meet them. Two people can face the same difficulty. One collapses under the weight of fear, while the other responds with resilience and peace. The difference lies in their inner dialogue. One tells himself he cannot. The other assures himself that all things are possible. And life reflects each back according to their inner script. The world bends not to what you say aloud, but to what you continually say in silence. Your emotional state is the atmosphere in which your life unfolds. If you live in constant agitation, everything feels sharp and hostile. If you live in inner rest, even difficulties carry a hidden blessing. The outer world, with all its people and events, is the great stage upon which your inner harmony or disharmony plays out. Change the tone within, and the performance of life rearranges itself without force. This is why true transformation is an inward act. To demand peace from the outer world while neglecting the war within is futile. But to bring peace to your inner dialogue, to saturate it with affirmations of love, gratitude, and wholeness, is to invite peace into every corner of your reality. When the heart is still, life becomes still. When the mind is serene, guard your inner speech as carefully as you guard your actions. Choose thoughts that soothe rather than wound. Cultivate emotions that uplift rather than drain. Persist in harmony within, and you will see harmony multiplied without. For life is a mirror, and it cannot help but reflect what you are within. Persistence is the bridge between desire and fulfillment. To merely wish for a thing is to touch it lightly and then let it slip away. But to persist in the inner state of already having is to anchor yourself in the vibration that must eventually harden into fact. Frequency is not established by a momentary thought or a fleeting feeling. It is built through repeated, steadfast occupation of the desired state until it becomes natural to you. What you return to again and again is what shapes your reality. Many give up too quickly. They imagine once, they feel once, and then, when evidence does not appear immediately, they declare the process does not work. Yet they misunderstand the nature of creation. A seed does not sprout the instant it is planted. It requires time in the soil, nourished by care and belief, until it breaks through and becomes visible. So it is with inner states. The moment you assume the feeling of already being what you desire, the seed is, but persistence is a nourishment that ensures the seed matures. Without it, the sprout withers before it has the chance to bloom. Persistence does not mean strain. It means returning again and again to the state of fulfillment, regardless of appearances. Appearances are deceptive because they are only the shadow of past vibrations. If you look only at today's circumstances, you may grow discouraged. But the wise understand that the outer world lags behind the inner. Persist in the inner state long enough, and the outer will inevitably conform. The law cannot be broken. The challenge lies in sustaining the vibration when the senses scream the opposite. To persist in abundance while bills pile high. To persist in love while loneliness surrounds you. To persist in health while pain still lingers. This is the true act of faith. It is not blind faith, but creative faith. The knowing that the unseen is more powerful than the seen. The unseen, once persisted in, becomes the seen. Over time, persistence transforms assumption into identity. At first, imagining yourself wealthy or loved may feel strange, like a garment that does not yet fit. But the more you persist, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, the state feels so natural that you no longer struggle to maintain it. It has become who you are. And when the state is natural, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Persistence also shields you from doubt. Doubt may visit, appearances may challenge, but if you are steadfast, these distractions lose their power. You become anchored in the unseen reality, unshaken by the passing storms of circumstance. The wind may howl, but you remain rooted in the state you have chosen, and in time the storm clears to reveal the harvest of your persistence. So I tell you, do not be discouraged by delay, and do not measure your progress by the surface of life. Keep returning day after day to the inner occupation of your fulfilled desire. Live in it, breathe in it, speak from it until it is second nature. Persistence is the secret ingredient that transforms invisible frequency into undeniable fact. For what you persist in inwardly, you will one day stand amidst outwardly. Creation is not uncertain, nor is it selective. It is inevitable. The universe operates by law, not by chance, and that law declares that whatever you consistently radiate within must externalize. Frequency never returns void. Just as sound waves find resonance, so too do the vibrations of your inner state call forth their likeness in the outer world. To believe otherwise is to misunderstand the nature of life. Every persistent feeling, every assumption, lived in repeatedly, must find its counterpart in form. You are always radiating something, even in silence, even in stillness, your inner state is speaking loudly to the universe. If that state is one of fear, life arranges itself to give you experiences that justify your fear. If that state is one of joy, opportunities appear that match your joy. The law does not fail. It cannot fail. Just as the ground must yield the seed that is planted within it, so must life yield the fruit of the consciousness you continually occupy. This inevitability is both a warning and a promise. It is a warning because it means you cannot indulge in destructive inner states without eventually seeing them reflected outwardly. You cannot habitually dwell in bitterness, envy, or despair and expect a life filled with peace and harmony. The harvest will always match the seed. But it is also a promise, an unshakable guarantee that when you persist in noble, uplifting, and fulfilling inner states, life will bow to reflect them. No force, no circumstance, no obstacle can prevent the inevitable flowering of a seed, faithfully planted and nurtured. Some grow impatient, looking for instant results, forgetting that inevitability does not mean immediacy. A seed does not bloom the same day it is sown, yet its blooming is certain. So it is with the states you inhabit. Persist long enough in the vibration of already being, and the externalization becomes unavoidable. The world around you must rearrange itself to mirror what you have chosen within. This is not hope. It is law. The beauty of this principle is that it removes all struggle. You do not have to fight against the world, manipulate people, or force circumstances to bend. You need only to persist inwardly in the frequency of what you desire, knowing that creation is already underway. The unseen is as real, indeed more real than the seen. For the seen is only the outgrowth of the unseen, and the unseen, once felt consistently, must break through the soil of time and space to stand visible before your eyes. This inevitability also means that your future is not something you wait for passively, but something you are shaping in every moment. The thoughts you dwell upon today, the emotions you nurture now, are the seeds of tomorrow's experience. Nothing is wasted, nothing is ignored. Every vibration you sustain leaves its imprint upon creation, and in due season you meet it as fact. Therefore, let your inner radiance be chosen deliberately. Do not scatter seeds of fear and wonder why thorns appear. Plant only what you wish to harvest, and trust the law to bring it forth. For creation is inevitable. Your frequency is the architect, and life is the obedient builder. What you consistently hold within, you will inevitably behold without. Every truth we have explored returns to one central revelation. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Consciousness is the seed, imagination is the blueprint, assumption is the frequency, inner harmony is the reflection, persistence is the nourishment, and creation is the inevitable harvest. Nothing in your outer world exists apart from the vibration you sustain within. The world is your mirror, faithfully reflecting the states you inhabit most deeply. The great invitation is to live deliberately, to stop drifting in unconscious states of fear and doubt, and to awaken to the truth that you are the author of your experience. If you wish for love, then embody the frequency of love. If you long for abundance, then occupy the state of already having. If you seek peace, then dwell in inner stillness until peace overflows. Life cannot resist you, for it must mirror back the frequency you radiate. Remember, fleeting wishes and occasional hopes carry little power. It is your steadfast inner occupation, your persistence in feeling the wish fulfilled, that transforms imagination into reality. You need not struggle, you need not force. You need only to choose your state and remain faithful to it. The unseen will crystallize into the seen, and what you dare to hold within will one day surround you without. So let this not be mere words, but a call to action. Begin now. Choose deliberately the seed you plant, the state you assume, the inner harmony you sustain. Persist until it becomes natural, for creation is inevitable, and your frequency is its command. In turtle, I forgive you, so let this night draw. Thank you.
We gather here today to recognize a profound truth, one that has the power to change the course of your life. The restoration you seek is not something distant or outside of you. It is already within, waiting to be claimed. In this moment, let us step into that power and uncover the secret of a powerful prayer for restoration. It is the doorway to everything you desire. It is the silent force that shapes your reality, even when you are unaware of it. Whether you realize it or not, every moment of your life is governed by the images and emotions you hold in your mind. When you begin to consciously use this power, you unlock a potential that can transform every area of your life, including those places where you seek restoration. To restore something, a relationship, a sense of peace, financial stability, or even your health, means to bring it back to its original or intended state. But restoration does not happen through hard effort, worry, or endless action. Instead, it begins in the realm of imagination. Before anything can change outwardly, it must first change within. What you hold as true in your mind will eventually manifest in your outer world, and this is where the power of imagination becomes essential. Imagine a painter standing before a blank canvas. The artist does not merely wait for a picture to appear, they deliberately paint the image they wish to see. In the same way, your life is like a canvas, and your imagination is the brush that fills it with color and form. If you are waiting for things to change without actively shaping the image in your mind, then you are leaving the canvas empty. Nothing can be restored until you first create the picture of what you desire. Most people live reactively. They see what is happening in their world and respond to it, often with fear, doubt, or frustration. They allow their circumstances to dictate how they feel, and in doing so, they keep recreating the same experiences. If you are constantly focused on what is broken or missing, your imagination will continue to reproduce more of the same. But if you can shift your focus away from the problem and instead imagine the solution, you set in motion a powerful force of restoration. This is not about pretending or daydreaming aimlessly. It is about using your imagination deliberately and with intention. The process begins by asking yourself, what would my life look like if the restoration I seek has already occurred? What would I see, hear, or feel? For example, if you are seeking restoration in a relationship, close your eyes and imagine that relationship healed and whole. Picture the conversations you would have, the harmony between you, the joy of being together. Feel it as if it were happening now. The key is to feel it deeply. Imagination, combined with feeling, is the secret ingredient that makes restoration possible. Your subconscious mind, which governs much of your experience, responds to emotion far more than to logic. When you combine a clear mental image with the feeling that it is already true, You impress that reality upon your subconscious. Once this happens, your subconscious mind begins to work behind the scenes to bring about circumstances that align with the image you have created. This is the magic of imagination. It does not simply wish for change, it commands it. Your external world must conform to the picture you hold in your inner world. The more vividly and consistently you imagine the restoration you seek, the faster it will come to pass. The process requires faith. You must believe in the power of your imagination, even if you cannot yet see the results. Just as a seed takes time to grow after being planted, your imagined reality needs time to take root. Trust the process. Continue to hold the vision in your mind, regardless of what your current circumstances may show. The universe or the unseen forces of creation will rearrange everything to align with the image you have impressed upon it. Restoration is not a distant possibility. It is within your reach, and the key to unlocking it is already in your hands. That key is your imagination. Use it wisely and watch your life transform. The power to shape your life lies not in the words you speak or the actions you take, but in how you feel. Feeling is the silent force that moves the unseen to become seen, the intangible to become real. It is the bridge between your inner world and the outer reality that unfolds before you. While thoughts are important, it is your feelings that give life to those thoughts, turning mere ideas into lived experiences. This is why feeling is the secret to manifesting any desire, especially when it comes to restoration. At the core of every prayer, every wish, and every desire lies the need to feel a certain way. When you ask for something, a new opportunity, health, peace, or love, it's not the physical thing you are truly after. What you really seek is the feeling that accompanies having it. You want the security that comes with financial abundance, the joy of being in a loving relationship, the vitality of a healthy body. These feelings are what you are truly striving for, and they are also the key to bringing those very things into your life. When you think of something you desire, but you feel doubt or worry, those negative emotions are stronger than the desire itself. The universe does not respond to what you want, it responds to how you feel about what you want. If you are constantly feeling anxious, fearful, or desperate, you are inadvertently creating more of those conditions, even if your mind is filled with positive thoughts. It's not enough to merely think good things, you must feel them deeply, as if they are already true. The process is simple but profound. First, identify what it is you wish to restore or create in your life. Then, ask yourself, how would I feel if this were already mine? Close your eyes and immerse yourself in that feeling. Imagine what it would be like to live from that state. If you are seeking restoration in a broken relationship, for instance, feel the love, harmony, and forgiveness as if they are already present. If you desire financial restoration, feel the relief and security of abundance, even if your current situation shows lack. This feeling must be strong and unwavering. You must not allow external circumstances to dictate how you feel. Instead, you choose to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, regardless of what appears in your outer world. When you do this, you align yourself with the frequency of that desired outcome. Just as a radio must be tuned to a specific station to hear a certain broadcast, you must tune your emotions to the frequency of what you want to experience. The power of feeling is often misunderstood because we are taught to rely heavily on logic and reasoning. But logic alone cannot create the life you desire. Feeling is what activates the creative process, calling forth the reality that aligns with your inner emotional state. The subconscious mind, which controls much of your experience, is not moved by logic, it responds to the depth of your feelings. When you feel as though your prayer has already been answered, you impress that reality upon your subconscious, which then works to bring it into being. This is why feeling is the secret. It is the key that unlocks the door to the life you desire. You cannot wait for the outer world to change before you allow yourself to feel good. Instead, you must feel good now, in the present moment, as though everything you seek has already been accomplished. In doing so, you shift the entire course of your reality. Feelings are the language of the universe. They communicate your desires in a way that thoughts alone cannot. When your feelings match the vibration of your desires, the universe has no choice but to bring them into your experience. So practice feeling the joy, peace, love, and abundance that you seek. Make it a daily habit to dwell in those feelings, and you will find that your world transforms in ways you never thought possible. And the secret to all manifestation is simple: feel it as though it is already done, and it will be. The journey from lack to abundance begins not with external change, but with a shift in your inner consciousness. To move from a state of scarcity to one of abundance, you must first understand that your external reality is a reflection of your internal state. Many people mistakenly believe that their feelings of lack are caused by their circumstances, their financial situation, relationships, or health. But the truth is, these external conditions are simply a mirror of the thoughts and emotions they hold within. When you constantly focus on what you don't have, you only reinforce that sense of lack. Conversely, when you shift your focus to what you do have, and to the abundance that already exists within you, your external world begins to align with that new mindset. The key to making this shift lies in awareness. Begin by observing your thoughts and the language you use throughout the day. Are you constantly thinking about what's missing from your life? Are you focusing on your debts, your struggles, or your frustrations? Every time you think or speak from a place of lack, you are unknowingly creating more of it. The mind, and by extension the universe, is incredibly responsive to your dominant thoughts and feelings. If you continually tell yourself that there is not enough, that you are not enough, you perpetuate that experience. To break this cycle, you must first recognize that abundance is not something you must attain. It is already present, waiting to be acknowledged. It may seem paradoxical, especially when you are faced with challenging circumstances, but the principle is simple: what you focus on expands. If you want to experience abundance, you must focus on abundance, even in the smallest forms. This doesn't mean denying your current reality, but rather choosing to redirect your attention to the things in your life that are going right, to the aspects where you already feel abundant. Start by cultivating a mindset of gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool that shifts your focus away from what is lacking and toward the good that is already present. No matter how difficult your situation may seem, there are always things to be grateful for. It could be as simple as the air you breathe, the food on your table, or the love of a friend or family member. When you consciously make a habit of appreciating these things, you invite more reasons to feel grateful. This is the law of attraction in action, like attracts like. The more you focus on the abundance in your life, the more you will attract experiences that reflect that abundance. Another crucial aspect of shifting from lack to abundance is changing your self-concept. Many people operate under the unconscious belief that they are not worthy of abundance. They see themselves as limited, undeserving, or somehow lacking in the qualities that would allow them to experience prosperity. These beliefs are often formed in early life and can become deeply ingrained in the subconscious mind. To shift out of this mindset, you must consciously affirm your worthiness. You are a unique expression of the universe, and abundance is your natural birthright. Begin to see yourself as someone who is deserving of all the good things life has to offer. Change the narrative you tell yourself, and your outer reality will begin to change as well. Visualization is another powerful tool in this process. Take a few moments each day to imagine yourself living in abundance. Visualize the life you desire, but more importantly, feel the emotions associated with having that life. What would it feel like to be financially secure, to have fulfilling relationships, or to experience perfect health? Let those feelings fill your body and mind. When you consistently imagine and feel yourself living in abundance, you impress that reality upon your subconscious, and over time your external circumstances will begin to reflect that inner state. Let go of any resistance to abundance. Often people hold on to lack because it feels familiar or because they fear change. Release any attachment to your current circumstances, knowing that abundance is your natural state. Trust that the universe is always moving you toward greater abundance when you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with that truth. The shift from lack to abundance is an inner transformation. By focusing on gratitude, changing your self-concept, visualizing abundance, and letting go of resistance, You can move from a mindset of scarcity to one of prosperity. Abundance is not something outside of you, it is already within, waiting to be realized. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for restoration, yet it is often misunderstood or overlooked. Many people think of forgiveness as something they do for others, a way to absolve someone of their wrongdoings. But in reality, forgiveness is an act of self-liberation. It is the key to restoring not just relationships, but also your own peace of mind, emotional well-being, and even physical health. When you forgive, you are not just releasing another person from blame or guilt, you are freeing yourself from the heavy burden of resentment and anger. Restoration begins the moment you decide to let go of the past and embrace the freedom that comes with forgiveness. At its core, forgiveness is about breaking the chains that bind you to past hurts. Holding on to grudges or harboring ill feelings towards someone who has wronged you keeps you trapped in a cycle of pain and negativity. It consumes your energy and clouds your thoughts, making it difficult to move forward. When you refuse to forgive, you allow the past to dictate your present and your future. You carry the weight of that hurt with you, and it becomes a barrier to the peace and restoration you seek. Restore yourself, you must let go of the idea that forgiveness is about condoning the other person's actions or pretending that the hurt didn't happen. Forgiveness does not mean excusing bad behavior or allowing others to walk over you. Instead, it is about releasing your attachment to the pain. It is about choosing to no longer let the actions of others control your emotions or your sense of well-being. When you forgive, you take back your power. Forgiveness is also essential for restoring relationships. Whether it's with a family member, a friend, or even yourself, no relationship can be fully healed until forgiveness is granted. It is the foundation upon which trust, love, and understanding can be rebuilt. Without forgiveness, there is always a barrier, a distance that cannot be crossed. But once forgiveness is extended, the door to restoration swings open wide. It allows for honest communication, the rebuilding of trust, and the possibility of a renewed connection. Yet forgiveness is not always easy. Many people struggle with it because they believe that holding on to anger or resentment somehow protects them from being hurt again. In reality, holding on to these emotions only deepens the wound. It creates a state of inner turmoil that can manifest in various ways: stress, anxiety, bitterness, or even physical illness. The stress caused by unforgiveness affects not only your emotional and mental state, but can also have tangible impacts on your physical health, causing ailments such as high blood pressure, weakened immunity, and chronic pain. True restoration, therefore, begins by healing from within, and that healing can only happen through forgiveness. It is also important to understand that forgiveness is not just about others, it is often about forgiving yourself. Many people carry deep guilt or shame for mistakes they've made, holding themselves to an impossible standard of perfection. This self-condemnation keeps them trapped in a cycle of regret and self-punishment. But self-forgiveness is just as crucial as forgiving others. You cannot restore your life or move forward while you are still punishing yourself for past actions. Recognize that you are human, capable of mistakes, but also capable of growth and transformation. When you forgive yourself, you release the weight of guilt and open the door to personal restoration. To begin the process of forgiveness, you must first make the decision to let go. It doesn't mean that the hurt disappears instantly, but the willingness to forgive sets the intention for healing. Start by acknowledging your pain, then consciously choose to release it. Visualize yourself freeing that hurt from your heart, letting it go like a heavy stone falling into a river, being carried away by the current. In its place, feel the lightness and peace that forgiveness brings. Over time, this practice will help you to fully embrace restoration. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It is a profound act of self-love and self-care. Through forgiveness, you restore not only your relationships but also your own heart and soul. You create space for peace, love, and joy to enter your life once again. And in doing so, you open the door to true restoration. There is a profound power in silence, a power that allows us to tap into the deepest parts of our being and connect with the invisible forces that shape our lives. Resting in the silence of knowing is not about inactivity or withdrawal from life, but about entering a state of trust and surrender, where you allow things to unfold naturally, without force or strain. In this silence, you align with the flow of the universe, confident that what you desire is already on its way, and that all is working out for your highest good. When we set an intention, whether it's a desire for restoration, healing, success, or love, the human tendency is often to become overly fixated on how and when it will happen. We get caught in the trap of doubt, impatience, and anxiety, constantly questioning whether our efforts will yield results. But this restlessness is counterproductive. True manifestation, true restoration, comes not from striving and worrying, but from resting in a deep, quiet knowing that it is already done. This knowing is a calm inner assurance that transcends logic and circumstance, a feeling that everything is working out perfectly, even if the path is not yet visible. The essence of this practice lies in trust. Trust that the universe is always moving in your favor, even when you can't see it. Trust that the seeds you've planted, whether through prayer, visualization, or intention, are growing, even when they seem buried in the soil. This is where silence plays a critical role. It's in silence that we can hear the subtle voice of intuition, the quiet guidance that comes from within, pointing us toward the next step or simply assuring us that we're on the right path. In this state of silence, you stop resisting and fighting against the natural flow of life. Resistance creates tension, and tension blocks the very things you are trying to attract. By resting in silence, you release the need to control every outcome, understanding that there are forces at play far greater than your conscious mind can grasp. It is in this letting go that the real magic happens. When you stop pushing, you make room for the universe to work through you. You allow the process of creation and restoration to unfold as it is meant to. Resting in the silence of knowing is also about inner peace. When you enter this space, you detach from the chaos of the outer world and the constant stream of thoughts that often cause stress and confusion. You return to a place of stillness, where there is no need to rush, no need to panic. Here, in this stillness, you reconnect with the truth of who you are, a being of infinite potential, connected to an all-powerful source that knows no limits. It is in this state that you become a magnet for the very things you seek, because you are no longer vibrating at the frequency of lack or desperation, but at the frequency of calm assurance. This silence is not empty, it is filled with presence. It is the space where faith resides, where your desires are nurtured in the invisible realm before they manifest in the physical world. It's where you allow yourself to feel that your prayer has been answered, even if the evidence hasn't yet appeared. The power of silence lies in the fact that it bypasses the noise of doubt and fear, allowing you to feel a deep connection to the outcome you've imagined. There is also a surrender involved in this process. Surrender is not about giving up on your desires, but about releasing the need to control the outcome or the timing. It is a recognition that the universe knows the best way to bring your desire into being, and your job is simply to align with that flow. When you rest in the silence of knowing, you are telling the universe, I trust you. I know you are working on my behalf. This is where true power lies. It is not in forcing things to happen, but in allowing them to happen naturally. It is in this stillness, this silence, that you come to understand that everything is already in motion, and all you need to do is stay aligned with that knowing. Resting in silence is the ultimate act of faith, and it is in that faith that restoration and manifestation unfold effortlessly. In conclusion, the power to transform your life, restore what has been lost, and manifest your desires lies within you. Whether through imagination, feeling, forgiveness, or resting in the silence of knowing, the key is always the same: align your inner world with the outcome you seek, trust the process, and allow the universe to do its work. True restoration and fulfillment don't come from forcing or striving, but from a deep sense of faith, surrender, and deliberate inner focus. As you practice these principles, you'll find that the external world naturally follows suit, bringing you the peace, abundance, and joy you desire. Thank you for your time and for opening your heart to these timeless truths. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a profound truth that we often overlook in our quest for success, happiness, and fulfillment. What you desire is already yours. You are not required to strive, struggle, or push against the current of life to achieve your dreams. Rather, you must understand the principle that all creation begins within you, is the creative force behind all manifestation. It is through the power of imagination that we give life to our desires, shape our realities, and experience the world we live in. What many fail to realize is that imagination is not a fleeting, idle activity confined to moments of daydreaming, but rather the very tool through which everything in your life takes form. When you truly grasp this, you begin to understand that your current reality is a reflection of the images, emotions, and beliefs you have entertained within your mind. It is not external circumstances or random chance that governs your life, but the visions you hold within yourself. You are continually imagining, consciously or unconsciously, and what you imagine persistently, you eventually experience. This is not a matter of chance or luck, it is a law. Consider for a moment the world around you. Every invention, structure, or concept that now exists was once nothing more than a thought in someone's mind. The chair you sit in, the phone you use, the clothes you wear, all were first imagined before they became material objects. The individual who conceived of them didn't wait for the world to give them permission or validation. They simply allowed their imagination to bring their vision to life. The same principle applies to every aspect of your personal experience. Most people, however, use their imagination against themselves. They imagine worst-case scenarios, they dwell on fears, doubts, and limitations. They picture outcomes where they fail, or where their desires remain out of reach. In doing so, they unknowingly perpetuate the very circumstances they wish to escape. What you focus on grows, and imagination is no exception. If you imagine lack, limitation, or defeat, your reality will be shaped accordingly. The key, then, is to harness the power of your imagination deliberately, to consciously direct it toward what you desire to experience. Instead of passively allowing your mind to wander into negative or limiting thoughts, begin to use your imagination constructively. The first step is clarity. You must clearly define what it is you want to experience. Be specific, vivid, and detailed in your vision. The clearer and more defined your mental picture, the easier it becomes for your imagination to bring it into form. Once you have this clear picture, the most important part is to feel as though it is already real. This is where imagination transcends mere fantasy and becomes a tool for manifestation. When you imagine something vividly, coupled with the feeling of its reality, you are impressing this image upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, which knows no difference between what is real and what is imagined, will accept your imagined scenario as truth. From there, it begins to work tirelessly behind the scenes, influencing your thoughts, actions, and even the events and circumstances around you to bring this vision to life. The secret is to live in the end, to imagine yourself already in possession of your desire, and to feel the emotions that come with it. Imagine yourself living in the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the joy, the relief, the excitement, or whatever emotions would naturally arise if your desire were already a reality. As you do this, you are impressing this state upon your subconscious, and it will begin to guide you toward its realization. Understand that your imagination is not bound by current circumstances. It transcends time and space. Even if what you desire seems impossible from your current vantage point, your imagination is capable of bridging the gap. Your task is not to figure out how your desire will come to pass, but simply to hold the vision and persist in the feeling of its reality. The rest will unfold naturally. Your imagination is your greatest ally. It is the creative force that shapes your destiny. The world around you is but a reflection of your inner world, and by mastering your imagination, you gain the ability to consciously shape the life you desire. The concept of effortless creation is one of the most liberating principles you can embrace. It stands in stark contrast to the common belief that success and fulfillment come only through struggle, hard work, and relentless effort. We are often conditioned to think that the harder we push, the more we can achieve. Yet true creation is not about force but alignment. The more we strain and push, the more we affirm that we are separate from what we desire. In reality, the act of creation is meant to be a natural, flowing process, one that unfolds effortlessly when we understand how to work with the laws of mind and spirit. At the heart of effortless creation is the understanding that everything begins within. What you seek already exists in potential, and it is your inner state, your imagination and belief, that determines whether it becomes your experience. The external world is simply a reflection of your inner world. This means that your desires do not require strenuous effort to bring them to pass. Rather, they require a shift in consciousness. The moment you can imagine your desire, believe in its reality, and feel it as though it is already true, you set in motion the process of its manifestation. Many people struggle because they are focused on the how of creation. They believe that they must control every step of the process, micromanage every detail, and work tirelessly to make things happen. This is where frustration sets in. But the truth is, you do not need to know how your desire will manifest. In fact, trying to figure it out only creates resistance. The universe, or the deeper intelligence within you, already knows the perfect way for your desire to unfold. Your role is simply to hold the vision, feel the reality of your desire, and trust that the path will reveal itself. Effortless creation is about alignment, not struggle. When you align yourself with the feeling of your desire already fulfilled, you naturally attract the people, circumstances, and opportunities that will bring it into being. This process is much like planting a seed in fertile soil. Once the seed is planted, it doesn't need your constant attention or worry. The soil, sunlight, and water naturally allow it to grow. Your desire is like that seed. When planted in the fertile soil of your mind, it begins to take root and grow, often in ways you cannot predict or control. The key to effortless creation is to release the need for control and trust in the unseen forces at work. This doesn't mean inaction or passivity, but rather inspired action. When you are aligned with your desire, you will be naturally guided toward the actions that are necessary to bring it into form. These actions feel easy, intuitive, and inspired. They are not the result of forcing or pushing, but of flowing with the current of your desire. Another important aspect of effortless creation is the ability to let go of resistance. Resistance comes in the form of doubt, fear, and impatience. These emotions block the natural flow of creation. When you doubt your ability to create what you want, you create internal friction that prevents your desire from manifesting. Similarly, when you are impatient, you are subtly telling yourself that what you want is not here, which only perpetuates its absence. Practice the art of non-resistance. This means trusting the process and allowing your desire to come to you in its own perfect time and way. You can do this by maintaining a relaxed, confident state of mind, knowing that what you seek is already on its way to you. Effortless creation is rooted in the belief that life is supposed to work for you, that the universe is always conspiring in your favor. When you truly believe this, you release the need to struggle and instead allow life to bring you what you desire with ease. Effortless creation doesn't mean you won't take action, but it means that your action will be guided, easy, and filled with joy. You are not meant to struggle or fight for what you want. Your desires are meant to flow to you as naturally as water flows in a river. The less you resist, the more you allow, and the more you align with the powerful forces of creation that are always working behind the scenes. In the present, fulfillment is a powerful practice that can transform your entire experience of life. It involves a fundamental shift in the way you perceive time, desire, and achievement. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that happiness and success lie somewhere in the future, always just beyond our reach. We think that once we achieve a certain goal, acquire something we lack, or resolve an external situation, we will finally feel satisfied. But this mindset keeps us perpetually chasing after the next thing, never fully content in the moment. Living in the present fulfillment means embracing the truth that everything you desire is already available to you right now, in this very moment. To live in present fulfillment is to understand that your desires are not separate from you. They are not distant, nor are they something to be achieved later. Instead, they exist within you, and the key to experiencing them lies in embodying the feeling of having them already. This shift in perspective can change how you approach life, as it releases you from the cycle of striving and replaces it with a deep sense of peace and satisfaction. When you no longer feel that you need to pursue happiness, success, or love, you allow those things to naturally come to you. The core of living in the present fulfillment is rooted in your imagination and emotions. What you imagine and feel as real in the present moment is what you will eventually experience in your outer world. If you continuously live in a state of wanting, longing, or needing something, you are affirming that you don't yet have it, and that is what you experience, a continued state of lack. But when you shift to feeling as though your desire is already fulfilled, you begin to vibrate at the frequency of having it. This change in vibration aligns you with the people, opportunities, and circumstances that match that state of fulfillment. To practice this, start by vividly imagining yourself as the person who has already achieved your desire. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I had what I wanted right now? Imagine in detail what your life would look like, how you would feel, and how you would act. The key is to immerse yourself in the emotions of fulfillment, rather than focusing on the lack of what you want. The more real and vivid this experience feels to you, the more your subconscious mind will accept it as your current reality. From this state, your external reality begins to shift and align with the internal state of fulfillment you've cultivated. In the present, fulfillment also frees you from the pressures of time. When you believe that your happiness or success is tied to a future event, you place yourself in a state of waiting. But the truth is that time is an illusion. The only moment that truly exists is the present. By living as though your desires are already fulfilled, you release the need to wait for some future outcome. Instead, you experience the joy, peace, and contentment of having it now, which paradoxically accelerates the manifestation of your desire in the physical world. Another profound benefit of living in the present fulfillment is that it keeps you grounded in the here and now. So often we miss out on the beauty and richness of the present moment because we are too focused on the future. We are constantly anticipating the next thing, the next achievement, the next goal. But when you live in a state of fulfillment, you become fully present in your life. You begin to appreciate the simple joys of each moment, the warmth of the sun on your face, the laughter of loved ones, the quiet stillness of a peaceful morning. You stop waiting for life to happen and start living it fully, right now. In the present, fulfillment also shifts your relationship with gratitude. Instead of being grateful only after you achieve something, you cultivate a sense of gratitude in advance. You give thanks for what you desire as though it's already yours, which further strengthens the feeling of fulfillment. This practice of gratitude in advance is a powerful way to signal to the universe that you are ready to receive your desire, and it helps to attract it into your life with greater ease. Living in the present fulfillment is about realizing that everything you seek is already within you. By embodying the feeling of your desires fulfilled in the now, you not only transform your inner world, but also set the stage for your outer reality to reflect that fulfillment. Instead of striving and struggling, you enter a state of flow, where life naturally brings to you everything you need, without effort or resistance. This is the true art of living from the inside out, where joy and fulfillment are not distant goals, but a present reality. Conscious assumption is one of the most powerful principles for transforming your life and bringing your desires into reality. It is based on the understanding that what you assume to be true about yourself and the world will be reflected in your experience. Unlike wishful thinking or mere daydreaming, conscious assumption is an active, deliberate process. It requires you to mentally and emotionally accept as true the state of being that you desire, even before it shows up in the physical world. This practice puts you in the driver's seat of your life, as it is your inner assumptions, not external circumstances, that create your reality. At its core, conscious assumption begins with a simple yet profound realization you are always assuming something about yourself. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, and every feeling you dwell in is an assumption. These assumptions form the foundation of your experience, for they act as the lens through which you perceive the world. If you assume lack, limitation, or failure, your life will mirror those assumptions. On the other hand, if you assume abundance, success, and fulfillment, your reality will align with those beliefs. The power of conscious assumption lies in the fact that your subconscious mind accepts as true whatever you consistently assume, regardless of whether it is factually true at the moment. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply responds to the dominant ideas you feed it. Therefore, by consciously assuming a desired state of being, you impress that state upon your subconscious, which in turn influences your thoughts, feelings, and actions to bring it into manifestation. To practice conscious assumption, you must first become aware of the beliefs you are currently holding. Often we operate on autopilot, unaware of the limiting assumptions that shape our lives. Begin by examining the areas of your life where you feel unfulfilled. Ask yourself, what am I assuming about myself in this area? For example, if you are struggling financially, you may be unconsciously assuming that money is hard to come by, that you are unworthy of wealth, or that financial success is for others but not for you. Identifying these assumptions is the first step toward changing them. Once you have identified the limiting assumptions, the next step is to consciously replace them with new, empowering assumptions. This is where imagination becomes your greatest tool. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the person who already has what you desire. If it's financial abundance, imagine yourself living a life of wealth and prosperity. See yourself handling money with ease, enjoying the freedom that comes with financial security, and feeling the emotions of gratitude and satisfaction. The key is to make the experience as vivid and real as possible. But the most important part of this process is not just the mental picture, but the emotional state. You must feel the reality of your assumption. It's not enough to think about your desire, you must feel as though it is already true. Emotions are the fuel that powers the creative process. And when you combine a clear mental image with the corresponding emotions, you are impressing your subconscious with the assumption that this is your reality. Over time, this new assumption will take root in your subconscious mind, and the outer world will begin to shift to reflect your new inner state. Conscious assumption also requires persistence. It's easy to fall back into old patterns of thinking, especially when the physical evidence of your new assumption has not yet appeared. But this is where true power lies, persisting in your new assumption, despite appearances to the contrary. You must remain loyal to your desired state, even when your current circumstances seem to contradict it. This persistence strengthens the new assumption and allows it to override the old, limiting beliefs. One of the most liberating aspects of conscious assumption is that it frees you from the need for external validation. You do not need anyone else to believe in your assumption, nor do you need confirmation from the outside world. Your inner conviction is enough. The moment you accept your desire as a present reality within your mind, you have taken the most important step toward its manifestation. The outer world will follow in due time, for it must conform to the reality you hold within. Inner transformation is the foundation of any lasting change in life. It is through the process of transforming ourselves from within that we can experience real and meaningful shifts in our external reality. Many people spend their lives trying to change the outer world, whether it's their circumstances, relationships, or financial situation, without realizing that true change must first occur on the inside. The outer world is simply a reflection of the inner world. As within, so without. When you transform your inner beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, the external world naturally aligns with that new state of being. At the heart of inner transformation is the recognition that you are not defined by your current circumstances. Many of us allow our outer experiences to dictate how we feel about ourselves and what we believe is possible. We look at the conditions of our lives and assume that they reflect some permanent truth about who we are. But the reality is that these conditions are merely the result of past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. If you want to change your outer reality, you must first change the mental and emotional patterns that have created it. Inner transformation begins with self-awareness. You must become aware of the thoughts and beliefs that are shaping your life. This requires a level of introspection and honesty that many people avoid. It's easier to blame external factors for our problems than to take responsibility for the beliefs we hold. But the first step to transformation is to identify the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Ask yourself, what stories am I telling myself about who I am? What do I believe is possible for me? Once you become aware of these limiting narratives, you can begin the process of changing them. The next step in inner transformation is the conscious choice to adopt new, empowering beliefs. This is where imagination and visualization come into play. Just as your current reality is the result of past thoughts and beliefs, your future reality will be shaped by the new mental pictures and assumptions you hold today. If you want to experience abundance, success, or happiness, you must first see yourself as the person who already possesses those qualities. You must mentally and emotionally step into the identity of the person you wish to become. Inner transformation is not just about thinking positive thoughts or repeating affirmations. It requires a deep shift in your emotional state. You must feel the emotions of your new reality as if it were already true. Emotions are the driving force behind manifestation, and when you align your emotions with your new beliefs, you accelerate the process of transformation. This means feeling the joy, gratitude, and fulfillment of your desires before they have manifested in the physical world. As you do this, you begin to rewire your subconscious mind, which in turn influences your actions, decisions, and perceptions. Inner transformation is also a process of letting go. You must be willing to release the old patterns, habits, and identities that no longer serve you. Transformation often requires you to step into the unknown, to leave behind the familiar comfort of your current life and embrace a new way of being. This can be uncomfortable at times, but it is necessary for growth. The more you let go of who you were, the more space you create for the person you are becoming. Inner transformation is the key to experiencing real and lasting change. It is the process of aligning your inner world with the reality you want to create. When you shift your beliefs, emotions, and identity, the outer world must follow suit. True power lies in understanding that the changes you seek in life begin with a change within yourself. As you transform internally, the world around you will inevitably reflect that transformation, bringing you the success, fulfillment, and happiness you desire. In the unseen is a profound principle that underlies the very nature of creation and transformation. It requires trusting in forces that are invisible to the physical senses, but are nonetheless powerful and real. This kind of faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking, but a deep inner knowing that what you desire, what you have imagined, and what you feel as real in your heart and mind will manifest, even if there is no immediate evidence in the physical world. It is the understanding that the unseen realm of thought and imagination is the birthplace of all that becomes tangible in life. To have faith in the unseen is to recognize that everything begins with an idea, a thought, or a feeling. Nothing exists in the physical world that did not first exist in the invisible realm of the mind. Every invention, every structure, every work of art, and even every relationship first existed as an unseen possibility in someone's imagination before it became a physical reality. This process is governed by natural laws, just like the law of gravity, and it operates whether we are aware of it or not. The challenge for most people is learning to trust in the unseen, especially when the outer world appears to contradict their desires. In the unseen requires a shift in perspective. Most people are conditioned to base their beliefs on what they can see, hear, touch, and measure. They look to the external world for proof, and when they don't see evidence of what they desire, they lose hope or give up. But this approach is backward. The outer world is a reflection of inner consciousness. It is the beliefs, thoughts, and emotions you hold internally that shape your external reality. Therefore, you must cultivate the ability to believe in your vision, even when there is no physical evidence to support it. One of the most important aspects of faith in the unseen is understanding the role of imagination. Imagination is not a mere escape from reality, but a powerful tool for creation. When you imagine something vividly and feel it as though it is already true, you are planting a seed in the unseen realm. Just like a seed planted in the soil, it takes time for that seed to grow and become visible. The key is to remain patient and steadfast in your faith, knowing that just because you can't see the seed growing doesn't mean it isn't. You must continue to nourish it with your belief and feeling, trusting that it will eventually break through the surface and become part of your physical reality. Faith in the unseen also involves letting go of the need for control. You don't need to know how your desire will come to pass. In fact, trying to figure out all the details can create resistance. The universe, or the deeper intelligence within you, knows the perfect way to bring your desires into being. Your job is to hold the vision, feel the reality of your desire, and trust that the unseen forces are working on your behalf. The how is not your concern, the what and the feeling of already having it are your primary focus. Another essential aspect of faith in the unseen is persistence. You must persist in your belief, even when the outer world shows no signs of change. This is where many people falter. They become discouraged when their circumstances don't immediately reflect their desires, and they begin to doubt or revert to old, limiting beliefs. But faith is the ability to hold on to your vision even in the face of apparent failure or delay. You must remain loyal to the unseen reality you are creating, knowing that it will eventually be realized in the physical world if you do not waver. Faith in the unseen is the foundation of conscious creation. It is the understanding that the invisible realm of thought, belief, and imagination is the true source of everything you experience in the physical world. By trusting in this unseen power, persisting in your vision, and aligning your emotions with your desired outcome, you activate the creative forces that will bring your desires into being. This faith allows you to move through life with confidence, knowing that the outer world will eventually reflect the inner reality you have cultivated. In conclusion, everything we desire in life begins within us. Whether through imagination, effortless creation, living in present fulfillment, or having faith in the unseen, we hold the power to shape our reality by transforming our inner world. The external world is merely a reflection of our beliefs, assumptions, and emotions. By aligning ourselves with the feeling of our desires already fulfilled, we can bring them into being with ease. Trust the process, remain steadfast in your faith, and allow life to flow to you naturally. Thank you for listening. Relax and ask like this. When we approach life with tension, trying hard to make things happen, we miss the magic of how life truly works. The truth is, you already possess everything you desire. It exists within you, waiting for recognition, not force. The moment you assume that what you desire is already yours, you step into the realm of true creation. This is not a mere wish or fleeting hope, it is an inward acceptance that you are already in possession of the thing you seek. To assume something is to believe, with unwavering conviction, that it is your present reality. This assumption, when sincerely felt, transforms your inner state and projects a new reality onto the world around you. It is not an act of desperation or force, but one of ease and faith. When you assume that your desire is already fulfilled, you bypass the need for external validation or approval. You no longer look to the world for proof of your desires manifesting. Instead, you dwell in the feeling that it is already done, that the outcome has already been achieved. This is where the true power of assumption lies. It frees you from doubt and struggle. Rather than waiting for the outer world to change before you can feel satisfied, you shift into the feeling of satisfaction now. You create from within, knowing that the external will eventually reflect your internal state. Assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is a practice that requires consistency and trust. At first, it may feel strange to assume something that has not yet manifested in physical reality. But understand this: the moment you make that assumption and genuinely feel it to be true, a shift occurs within you. Your consciousness begins to align with the reality you have assumed, and unseen forces start moving to bring about the necessary conditions for its manifestation. It is important to note that assumption is not a passive process. It is an active choice to believe in the reality of your desire, despite any contradictory evidence. You must persist in this assumption, especially in the face of doubt or when the outer world seems unchanged. The persistence in the assumption that your desire is already yours is the key to maintaining your inner state and allowing your outer reality to conform to it. The power of assumption teaches us that we are not victims of circumstance. We are the creators of our reality, and we hold the power to shape it by consciously directing our thoughts and feelings. When you assume that you already have what you desire, you step into a new version of yourself, a version that embodies the qualities, experiences, and outcomes you wish to see in your life. In doing so, you align with the higher reality of your imagination, which has no limits or constraints. By simply assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you place yourself in harmony with the law of creation. You no longer need to try hard or struggle against the current of life. Instead, you allow life to unfold naturally, confident in the knowledge that what you desire is already yours. All that remains is for you to relax, trust, and persist in this inner knowing. It is often dismissed as a mere tool for daydreaming or fantasy, yet it holds profound creative power that shapes our reality. The ability to visualize and create mental images is not just an escape from the mundane, it is the very foundation upon which our lives are built. When we engage our imagination with purpose and intention, we tap into an infinite reservoir of possibilities. This creative faculty allows us to mold our circumstances, attract our desires, and manifest our dreams into reality. At its core, imagination is the precursor to experience. Before anything exists in the physical realm, it first exists in the mind. Every invention, every piece of art, and every significant achievement begins with an idea. When we visualize our desires, we are, in essence, creating a blueprint for our future. This is the power of imagination. It allows us to see beyond the current state of affairs and into the realm of what can be. It enables us to dream boldly and to envision a life that aligns with our deepest aspirations. To harness this creative power, one must approach imagination with a sense of responsibility. This means being mindful of the images we hold in our minds. Are they images of lack and limitation, or are they images of abundance and success? The quality of our imagination directly influences the quality of our experiences. If we fill our minds with positive, empowering images, we open ourselves up to experiences that reflect those same qualities. Conversely, if we allow our minds to dwell on fears, doubts, or negative scenarios, we inadvertently attract those realities into our lives. Engaging in the practice of visualization is an effective way to cultivate the creative power of imagination. This involves closing your eyes, calming your mind, and vividly picturing your desires as if they are already true. What do you see? What do you feel? Immerse yourself in the experience of having your wish fulfilled. Allow yourself to revel in the emotions that come with it: joy, excitement, gratitude. By doing this regularly, you train your mind to accept these images as reality, aligning your subconscious with your conscious desires. It is also essential to recognize that imagination is not bound by time or space. The past, present, and future all coexist within the realm of imagination. You can revisit past experiences, reinterpret them, and reshape them to serve you. Similarly, you can project your imagination into the future, crafting a narrative that resonates with your ideal self and desired outcomes. This fluidity allows you to redefine your identity and circumstances, empowering you to rise above limiting beliefs. Furthermore, the creative power of imagination is amplified when coupled with emotion. Emotion is the fuel that drives our desires and breathes life into our imaginations. When we imagine with passion and intensity, we send powerful signals to the universe, attracting experiences that resonate with our emotional state. This synergy between imagination and emotion creates a magnetic force that pulls our desires closer to us. Effortless manifestation is a concept that may seem paradoxical in a world that often equates success with hard work and struggle. However, the essence of effortless manifestation lies in the understanding that our desires are not meant to be chased or forced into existence. Instead, they are to be attracted by aligning our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with the reality we wish to create. This transformative approach shifts the focus from exerting effort to cultivating a state of being that naturally draws our desires to us. At the core of effortless manifestation is the idea that we are creators of our own reality. Each thought and feeling we harbor sends out vibrations that resonate with the universe. When we align our inner world with the outer world we desire, we create a harmonious connection that allows our intentions to flow effortlessly into our experience. This is not about passive waiting, it's about actively embodying the state of having what we desire, which in turn influences the universe to bring those desires to fruition. One of the key elements of effortless manifestation is the understanding of the law of attraction. This law posits that like attracts like, meaning the energy we emit through our thoughts and emotions attracts similar energy back to us. Therefore, if we hold on to feelings of lack, struggle, or resistance, we inadvertently attract more of the same. On the other hand, when we cultivate feelings of abundance, joy, and gratitude, we magnetize those positive experiences into our lives. To practice effortless manifestation, it is essential to shift from a mindset of lack to one of abundance. This begins with recognizing that everything we desire already exists in the realm of possibility. It's crucial to detach from the notion that our desires are outside ourselves or require excessive effort to obtain. Instead, we must embody the feeling of having our desires now. This requires a deep-seated belief that we are worthy of receiving what we seek, and that the universe is always ready to deliver it to us. It is important to cultivate a state of relaxation and trust. Effortless manifestation flourishes in an environment of calmness. When we are relaxed, we are more receptive to inspiration and opportunities that align with our desires. This state of trust allows us to surrender the need to control every outcome, understanding that the universe has its own timing and methods of delivery. By letting go of the how and when, we open ourselves to unexpected pathways that may lead to our desires in ways we had not anticipated. It's also vital to practice gratitude throughout the manifestation process. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already have, enhancing our vibrational state and reinforcing our belief in abundance. By regularly expressing gratitude for both our current blessings and the desires we are manifesting, we create a powerful energetic resonance that aligns us with our goals. Effortless manifestation invites us to embrace a new paradigm of creation, one that recognizes our inherent power as conscious creators. By aligning our thoughts and feelings with our desires, we can manifest our dreams with ease and grace, understanding that the universe is always working in our favor, ready to deliver the life we envision. In the unseen is a profound and transformative concept that underlies the process of manifestation and the creation of our reality. In a world that often prioritizes tangible evidence and immediate gratification, cultivating faith in what cannot be seen requires a deep understanding of the power of belief and the workings of the universe. This faith transcends mere wishful thinking. It is an unwavering conviction that what we desire already exists in the realm of possibility, even if our physical senses do not yet confirm it. Faith in the unseen is about trusting in the invisible forces that govern our experiences. It invites us to recognize that our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions shape the fabric of our reality. When we hold on to a vision of our desired outcomes with steadfast belief, we set into motion a series of events that align our circumstances with that vision. This is the fundamental principle of manifestation. The outer world is a reflection of our inner world. We must first acknowledge the limitations of our current perceptions. Our physical senses are often deceiving, leading us to believe that our present circumstances define our future. However, the truth is that our reality is not fixed. It is malleable and subject to change based on our thoughts and beliefs. By exercising faith in the unseen, we tap into a higher realm of possibility, where limitations dissolve and new opportunities emerge. This faith requires us to let go of the need for immediate evidence. It can be challenging to maintain belief in our desires when the world seems to reflect the opposite. In these moments, we must learn to trust that the universe is working on our behalf, even if we cannot see the fruits of our labor. This is where the concept of patience becomes essential. Faith is often tested in the waiting periods, but it is during these times that we must hold firm to our convictions and remain open to the possibilities that lie ahead. Emotional alignment plays a crucial role in strengthening our faith in the unseen. When we embody the feelings associated with our desires, we reinforce our belief in their eventual manifestation. Visualization is a powerful technique in this regard. By vividly imagining our desired outcomes and allowing ourselves to feel the emotions of having them now, we cultivate a sense of certainty and trust. The more real we make these feelings, the stronger our faith becomes, creating a magnetic pull that attracts our desires closer to us. Furthermore, surrounding ourselves with positive influences can bolster our faith. Engaging with uplifting literature, supportive communities, and inspiring individuals who share similar beliefs can strengthen our resolve. When we expose ourselves to thoughts and ideas that affirm our faith in the unseen, we create a supportive environment that fosters growth and belief. By cultivating unwavering faith, we empower ourselves to transcend limitations and open the door to infinite possibilities. In doing so, we become co-creators of our reality, harnessing the unseen energies that shape our lives. Embracing faith in the unseen allows us to step boldly into our potential, knowing that what we desire is already on its way, waiting for us to align with it fully. Living in the end is a powerful concept that encourages us to embody the state of having our desires fulfilled before they manifest in the physical realm. This practice is not merely about daydreaming or wishing for what we want. It is about deeply immersing ourselves in the feeling and experience of our desired reality, as if it were already true. By living in the end, we align our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs with the outcomes we seek, effectively signaling to the universe that we are ready to receive. The principle of living in the end hinges on the understanding that our thoughts create our reality. Every desire we hold stems from a vision of what we want to experience. However, many people find themselves trapped in a cycle of wanting, constantly focused on the gap between their current situation and their desired outcome. This mindset perpetuates feelings of lack and frustration, making it difficult to attract what they truly desire. To break free from this cycle, we must shift our focus from the absence of our desires to the experience of having them now. To live in the end, we begin by visualizing our desired outcome in vivid detail. Imagine what it looks like, feels like, and sounds like to have your wish fulfilled. This visualization is not a passive exercise, it requires active engagement. As you create this mental picture, allow yourself to immerse in the emotions associated with achieving your desire. Feel the joy, gratitude, and excitement as if you are already living that reality. By doing so, you condition your mind to accept this new reality as your current experience. This practice of emotional alignment is crucial. The universe responds to our emotional state, and when we embody the feelings of our fulfilled desires, we emit a powerful signal that resonates with the energy of our intentions. The key is to maintain this emotional state consistently, even in the face of contrary evidence. This may require persistent effort, but the more you practice living in the end, the more natural it becomes. An essential aspect of living in the end is to let go of the how and when of your desires manifesting. The universe operates in its own timing and has its methods of bringing your dreams to fruition. When you fixate on how your desires will materialize, you introduce doubt and resistance, which can block the flow of abundance. Instead, focus on the feeling of having what you desire and trust that the universe will orchestrate the necessary events to bring it into your reality. Maintaining an attitude of gratitude enhances the practice of living in the end. By expressing gratitude for your current blessings and the fulfillment of your desires, you elevate your vibrational frequency. Gratitude amplifies your positive emotions and reinforces your belief in abundance, making it easier to maintain the mindset of having your wishes fulfilled. Living in the end also requires a commitment to self-awareness. Be mindful of any limiting beliefs or doubts that arise and consciously choose to replace them with thoughts that affirm your new reality. Surround yourself with positive influences, engage in uplifting conversations, and consume content that inspires you to maintain your vision. Living in the end empowers us to take control of our reality. By fully embracing the feeling of having our desires now, we align ourselves with the energy of abundance and possibility. This practice transforms our relationship with ourselves and the universe, shifting us from a mindset of lack to one of fulfillment. As we consistently live in the end, we invite our desires to materialize, creating a life that reflects the richness of our imagination and the depth of our faith. Persistence in feeling is a vital concept in the art of manifestation, emphasizing the importance of consistently maintaining the emotional state associated with our desires. This practice is not merely about wishful thinking or temporary enthusiasm. It is about cultivating a deep, unwavering belief in the reality of what we seek until it manifests in our lives. By remaining steadfast in our feelings, we create a powerful magnetic force that attracts our desires and transforms our internal landscape into one that aligns with our aspirations. At the heart of persistence in feeling is the understanding that our emotions are the language of our subconscious mind. The subconscious does not respond to words or conscious thoughts alone. It is deeply influenced by the feelings we experience. When we harbor intense emotions tied to our desires such as joy, gratitude, or excitement, we send strong signals to the universe about what we truly want. This emotional resonance acts as a beacon, drawing experiences and opportunities that reflect those feelings into our reality. To practice persistence in feeling, we must first identify the emotions we want to embody in relation to our desires. What does it feel like to achieve your goals? How do you feel when you envision your ideal life? Spend time connecting with these emotions and allow them to become a part of your everyday experience. It is crucial to make this emotional connection genuine. Simply repeating affirmations without feeling the accompanying emotions is not enough. Visualization is an effective technique for fostering these feelings. By creating vivid mental images of our desired outcomes and immersing ourselves in the accompanying emotions, we reinforce our belief in their eventual manifestation. The more detailed and sensory-rich our visualizations, the stronger our emotional responses become. Picture the sights, sounds, and sensations associated with your fulfilled desires and feel the joy and gratitude that come with it. This immersive practice helps bridge the gap between your current reality and your desired future. Persistence in feeling does not imply that we will always feel positive or aligned with our desires. Life can be unpredictable, and external circumstances may challenge our emotional state. It is during these moments that our commitment to persistence becomes crucial. When faced with doubt, fear, or negativity, it is essential to consciously redirect our thoughts and emotions back to the feelings associated with our desires. This may involve reframing our mindset, practicing self-compassion, or engaging in activities that uplift our spirits. It is important to recognize that persistence is not about forcing a specific emotional state. Instead, it involves a gentle, yet determined commitment to returning to the feelings of joy, fulfillment, and gratitude whenever we stray. This requires self-awareness and an understanding of the triggers that may lead us away from our desired emotional state. By cultivating a daily practice of gratitude, meditation, or mindfulness, we can create a solid foundation for our emotional well-being. Another vital aspect of persistence in feeling is maintaining a sense of trust in the process. This means believing that our desires are on their way to us, even if we cannot yet see evidence of their manifestation. Trusting the universe and its timing allows us to remain open and receptive, fostering an environment where our desires can naturally unfold. Persistence in feeling empowers us to become active participants in the manifestation process. By consistently embodying the emotions associated with our desires, we align our internal state with the reality we wish to create. This alignment not only enhances our ability to attract what we seek, but also enriches our overall experience of life. When we live from a place of persistent feeling, we cultivate an inner world that reflects the abundance, joy, and fulfillment we aspire to achieve, creating a powerful foundation for transforming our dreams into reality. In conclusion, the journey of manifestation is rooted in the profound understanding that our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs shape our reality. By embracing concepts such as the power of assumption, the creative potential of imagination, effortless manifestation, faith in the unseen, living in the end, and persistence in feeling, we unlock our innate ability to create the lives we desire. Each of these principles invites us to shift our focus from the limitations of our current circumstances to the expansive possibilities that lie within our imagination. As we cultivate unwavering faith in our desires and embody the emotions associated with their fulfillment, we transform our inner landscape into one that resonates with abundance. This alignment empowers us to attract our desires effortlessly, trusting that the universe is conspiring in our favor, even when the evidence of our dreams remains unseen. By practicing visualization, gratitude, and self-awareness, we fortify our commitment to living in a state of joy and fulfillment, allowing our dreams to manifest with grace and ease. The essence of manifestation lies not in struggle or force, but in the gentle persistence of feeling and belief. As we navigate this journey, let us remember that we are the creators of our reality, capable of shaping our experiences through the power of our minds and hearts. By embodying the principles of manifestation, we open the door to a life filled with limitless possibilities, inviting our deepest desires to unfold before us. Embrace this journey with confidence, knowing that your dreams are not only possible but already on their way to you, waiting for you to align with them fully.